Good afternoon and welcome to another special edition of Great River Human Resources Ignite HR Hot Seat Meet the Board segment. Today I have the privilege of speaking with Cory Halloway, who is DI Director and Board Chair for GRHRA, as well as the Gear Up lead coach at Eastern Iowa Community College. And how are you doing this afternoon, Cory?
Doing well, enjoying the last bit of summer weather we have.
Yeah. How many days is it until it starts cooling down? I think somebody was speaking about that recently.
Hopefully sooner than later. Fall's my favorite season, so
Oh
looking
yeah.
forward to definitely looking forward to the cooler weather.
Yeah, cooler weather, and then I like the smell of the leaves and all of that
Yeah,
that comes with it, fire pits and everything. So,
the whole thing,
yeah.
whole shebang.
So for those of you who are listening, today we are going to dive into some recent announcements made by SHRM at the national level. And with that, Cory, I'm going to jump into the hot seat questions with you.
Okay.
All right, so first question I have for you, Cory. SHRM recently announced a new focus on inclusion and diversity. Can you explain what this shift entails and why SHRM chose to focus on inclusion and diversity rather than the broader scope of inclusion, diversity, and equity?
Yeah, so the recent change that happened, listen to John C. Tyler, who's the CEO of SHRM nationally. This change came about because of a lot of confusion around the equity piece and what that means and what that meant for CEOs and decision makers within their organization. And that it's something that didn't go away, but pulled under the umbrella of inclusion. Now,
Mhm.
to a lot of folks who do this work, when you hear that the E went away, just have to be careful how we're choosing to say those words. It didn't go away. It's just falling under that umbrella of inclusion. So the work isn't getting lost. It's just we've gotten to a place where they got feedback from key stakeholders, CEOs, and hearing that with the lack of understanding and with the lack of being able to represent the E as it needs to be in these spaces, not only for CEOs and decision makers, but for employees as well. To get everybody on the same page and for us as an organization to understand how we are going to best support our members, which then goes and supports our employees. So this change was not a change that was made lightly. Sounds like they've been working at this for a few years now, and that doing extensive research, looking at the data, and hearing back from both employees and from key stakeholders, this decision was made. So equity didn't go away. It's just moved under the inclusion umbrella, as he stated.
Yeah, and I would say that you can't have inclusion unless you have equity. So it completely makes sense why it's lumped in there. And I, as I've understood and how I've read and seen the announcements of it, I mean, just if you think of it in this context, it's easier to communicate two things than three things, and by default, your overall message is widely embraced. Is that more of the thinking there?
Um, kind of. What he was getting at was that I'll just share his example. His example is that he likes apple pie. Instead of saying flour, sugar, butter, eggs, and things of that nature, I'm just going to say apple pie. This is this is what people understand. This is what they get. Where some of the confusion is lying is coming from is they think that SHRM is not doing anything with equity. It's that they're working at having a working definition for us to be able to use, and the communication piece is so important and how that's being relayed out to people, because for folks who are practitioners of the DEI space, they have fought really hard to make sure that that piece is seen, heard, and then implemented within organizations. So to hear that it goes away, if we're saying it's going away, people think, oh, companies just aren't going to do equity anymore. It's known as that SHRM feels is that the work is still important. They want to do the work. And hopefully I'm not stealing thunder from another question, but that is to communicate the piece of it's still here. It's still happening. It's still important within your organization. And then when you are, to the point you were just making, thinking about inclusion, making sure that the equity piece is still happening within your organization. Another note to point out is that SHRM is making this change. SHRM is going to be providing resources and things like that as this change has happened. For your organization, if DEI is working for you all, you're seeing the positive things that are coming out of it, you're applying the things, it's becoming a foundational piece for you and your organization, don't change anything. Keep that going, keep growing, keep developing, keep taking care of your people, right? So that's what SHRM is here to do, is to take care of people. So that's still going to happen. So don't lose sight of who you are. But just the reason behind this change is to ensure that folks know that inclusion and diversity is understood by key stakeholders and decision makers. Diversity is understood. They're seeing the benefits. They're seeing the growth that they wanted to since this movement has started over 30 years ago. But the piece that's confusion, let's get that right so that the way we're not taking away from the work that could be done.
Okay, and you hit it on the head earlier. Don't want to steal thunder of the next question, but now the focus is going to pivot towards the local level. But with that, what impact does this new inclusion and diversity focus at the national level have for GRHRA members and any local members in other spots of the country where they rely on their local chapter? And how does GRHRA plan to advance this conversation to ensure it meets the DEI-AB needs of its members?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as what's going to happen here locally, as I was just kind of stating, what's working for your organization? If you feel like DEI, DEIB, DEIA is working for your organization, keep it going, right? As far as what we're going to do here at Great River, we're going to continue to provide the information and resources as we're getting information back, as we're living and working it within our own community, and what we can put out to our members to continue to best support their efforts in this work. DEI, for me, being a practitioner of the work, it should be foundational of who you are and what you do. I feel like often folks get focused on initiatives, but initiatives has a start and middle and an end, right? So not to that initiatives are bad and you shouldn't do anything, but hopefully that the outcome of those initiatives are becoming a foundational piece of how you move and operate as an organization. So foundationally, how are you going to be recruiting? Is it the way that we recruit? Our recruiting process is equitable. Our recruiting process is inclusive. That's because of the works and the steps and the things that we're putting in. That's just who we are as X company, right? And how we treat our people, how we promote, all these things within your organization. And then if you need help, this is what Great River here is, to have those conversations. We're going to continue to work at this. This is not going to be a one-shot thing where we put out a message and be done talking about it. That's not how we do things here. You know, we're going to continue to have these conversations. We'll continue to hear from our members and their needs and what they specifically need for their organization to keep moving that needle forward and help them out in that way.
Yeah, and I can personally vouch that I've seen a couple of organizations that have already reached out and said that E is still very important to them, and they were looking for our advice on it. So it's nice knowing that us as a local chapter are serving that need there.
Yes.
Well, Cory, I want to thank you very much for participating in the hot seat today. I know you spent a significant amount of time catching up on the latest announcements, as always, when it comes to DEI. For those of you that are listening, if this is your first time meeting Cory and would like to learn more about GRHRA, please check us out at GRHRA.org. So have a good afternoon. All right, Cory?
Yeah, you too.
All right. Thank you.